Today we're gonna take that train and put it in a waterfall environment. Hey there, my name is Ali and you can find me on Instagram at ali.khalid.94. Okay, let's get started. We'll start by creating a new document. I'll go 3000 by 3500. Okay, actually I'm gonna hold Control Alt press I. I'll just reduce them both so the file goes faster. You don't have to do this, I'm just doing it so things go faster. I'll start by pulling the sky. I like to work from back to front. We have our sky here, then the train. Okay, now I'm gonna work around placing the train in a creative way. Okay, here is good, and I'm gonna erase the outer part of the photo. Make sure you rasterize your layers so your file goes faster. I'm gonna add a layer mask. I'm gonna take a brush, make sure it's a hard one, 100 opacity, 100 flow with black color. Now whenever you paint black, you're gonna delete. I'm gonna take the magic wand, select all the greens that I want to delete. Okay, jump to the train because both of them are dark. So I'm just gonna use the lasso tool in this case, just to make sure I'm erasing properly. I don't want to erase this smoke, it looks nice. And the rest of the train. Okay, and then this area also, I'm just gonna do it using the lasso tool. You hold shift to add to the selection. And I'm just gonna go around it really quickly. You can do that, but you can take your time doing this if you want better results. But now just for the sake of tutorial, I'm going very fast and I'm not even zoomed in. Something like that. Now I'm gonna paint black on the layer mask using Alt Backspace. And then using the brush, I'm just gonna get rid of the final parts here and there. And the smoke, it doesn't look realistic, so I'm just gonna using a soft brush, lower the opacity, just paint black over it, just to fade it away a little bit. Okay, now we're good. Let's start adding the waterfalls. I'll start with this layer. Okay, I'm gonna make this one something like that. And then I'm just gonna make sure it's rasterized, add a layer mask with 100% opacity, just erase. Make sure you erase one trail and you leave the other so it looks realistic. Like you don't erase from the middle of the waterfall, like you leave one string of water and then you erase after it. Okay, now I'm gonna erase this part. I don't want it overlapping the train. Okay, looks good. Let's add, I'll hold Alt and just copy it, then flip it horizontal. But this one I'm gonna just stretch it out a lot, something like that. I want this one to be like much bigger. And also I'm just gonna erase it from on top of the train, something like that. I press X to switch between black and white. You press X if you want to bring back, you press X if you want to delete, which is the black color. Okay, but then I wanna play around a little bit more with that waterfall. I don't like how they look too identical. I'm gonna make this one actually smaller, something like that. I don't want them to be looking like exactly the same. It doesn't look nice. So I'm gonna erase this one like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna add another waterfall photo. Let's put it here. Let's rasterize it. Then using the mask, I'm gonna paint black to delete. I'm gonna delete this area. I'm gonna leave actually the top part. We can make some good use of it. Okay, something like that. Let's try to make one waterfall which consists of two of them. So this is the water, and the other part is the surface, but I need to fix the surface a little bit. So I'm gonna make the brush hard, and I'm just gonna erase. Let me soften it up. Erase this part. Let me harden it, and just erase this area like that. Okay. So we have some sort of a surface, and let's try to put that actually behind the train. Okay, it looks good now. Easier than like putting it in front of the train and erasing it. Let's try for this one also. Okay, much better. But the thing is, I don't like these parts. So I'm just gonna very quickly. I want the environment of this one to be like it's completely flooded with water. I don't want any signs of like grass or anything. I want this train to be looking like it's walking in just like waterfalls and clouds and everything. So I want to get rid of this greens here and there. I'm doing it really quickly, not accurately, but just for the sake of time. And I'm just gonna using a soft brush, delete them like that. So now we can see the waterfall from both sides. Now the sky. Let me take a photo. I have some cloud photos here. Where are they? Okay, here, this one. I'm gonna put this one here. Okay, we have some sort of a blue cloud. So this one is very cyan, this one also. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand on the layer, press Ctrl U, and move it from cyan to blue. And then I'm gonna do the same to this one. But then it's too saturated. I'm just gonna desaturate it a little bit. And on this one also desaturate it a little bit. And on this one, I'm just gonna press Ctrl B. And in the shadows, I'm just gonna add blue on cyan, highlights, blue cyan. So it matches the environment we have. Okay, let's take these two, Ctrl G to group them. Let's take this one. Move it here. I'm gonna bring back actually these parts. Okay, so now we have the everything. Now it's time to like, I'm gonna create a new layer. I want to fix a lot of these things, so I'm just gonna take a brush, sample any color from the background we have, and I'm gonna use a cloud brush. I'm gonna link all my brush set. This brush set is gonna be linked in the description below if you wanna have it. Just with low opacity, I'm just gonna add some fog on top of everything. Then I like to change to linear burn. This will make every next click darker than the one before. So now I'm darkening. Okay. Good. I can also go to image adjustments, brightness, contrast, and just darken it up a little bit. Now let me take this layer. I'm gonna go to curves, link it below, and I'm gonna darken it, but I'm gonna darken from the highlights. Then I'm gonna hold Alt and I'm just gonna copy this on top of everything else. I wanna darken the whole image, it's too bright. And this one is too strong, I believe. I'm just gonna lower the opacity a little bit. Okay. I don't like this smoke, it looks bad. I'm just gonna get rid of it. Didn't work as I expected. So using black, I'm just gonna paint black on the layer mask. Just to get rid of it. Okay, good now. What else could we do? Let me flip. I'm gonna go to image rotation, flip canvas horizontal. This helps you take a different look on your work. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me take this one, let me duplicate it, flip horizontal, and just put it back there. And just try lowering the opacity a lot, something like that. So it just adds some sort of variation to the photo. Let's start choosing where our light should be. I'm gonna add this layer here using a brush and the light color. Usually I'll go with something like that. And make sure you're on low opacity and using a soft brush. That's too strong. Something like that is good. Okay, we have here some sort of a light source, but let me put it up. No, it's covering the train. I'll bring it back. Okay, so now we have our light source. What else could we do? I want to add some fog here at this part below, but like more fog. So I'm just gonna add a new layer. Now I'm gonna use different. I'm gonna use some cloud brushes I have, just with very low opacity. I'm gonna like use many of them, different ones, just to add some sort of variation here and there also. You can also, if this one is like, this one is too fat for me, so I'm gonna just like do that. Now it's much more skinny. So now we have some sort of like fog in our photo. But now our photo is too bright. We're gonna fix that using the color grading. Let's jump to it. First, I'll go to the curves. This is how I blend photos. I pull the blacks up. Then I take my shadows and pull them down. And this you can like pull from here or pull from here, depending on the photo. In this case, I'm gonna pull from a little bit up and take the whites, make it even brighter. So we emphasize the light area we have. And I'm gonna go to gradient map. This is coloring. I just choose any one of them. I like this one because it has 3 points. The blue, I'm gonna leave it as it is blue, but I'm just gonna darken it up a little bit, the shadows. And then here, I'm gonna take a lighter blue, something like that. And the last one, I'm gonna take a cyan, and very bright one, of course. And just put this to a very low opacity, something like 15%. You see the difference? It added an overall mood to the image. Also, you can go to photo filter, and I'm gonna choose a cooling filter. It's too strong, I believe, too strong of an effect. So I'll just go with the cyan one, and maybe 13%. Okay, now we have like a mood to the image. It looks blue and everything. Now I'm gonna add a layer, just a layer. This is a blending way I use. It makes things a little bit soft. How this works is that, let me, for example, I want to make this grass softer. So I just hold Alt and click, to sample color from this area, and I just paint on top of it. But make sure you're on a very low opacity on top of it with this color. This makes everything blend together and everything soft. Just sampling colors and painting with them on top of everything of your photo. This reduces the details in the photo. It doesn't always work nicely, but in this case, it's a little bit dreamy photo, so it will work. Now I believe the photo, like if you look at the histogram, this is the photo. We don't have very bright areas, we don't have very dark areas. So I need to work more on the highlight. I'm gonna add a new layer and I'm gonna sample a very bright cyan color, something like that. I'm gonna change the blending mode to overlay, and using the brush with a low flow and the low opacity, I'm just gonna paint some highlights here and there. So we have some sort of a point of interest of light. Okay, that made a lot of difference, but I'm just gonna use the eraser, and with a low opacity, I'm just gonna erase from this area. I believe it was too strong, and maybe lower the opacity a little bit. Okay, good. Now it's time to add some dark parts to the photo. So I'm just gonna go to a curves and just pull this one a little bit down. So it adds some darkness to the photo. Then I'm gonna go to brightness contrast. I'm gonna brighten. And then I'm gonna press Ctrl I. Now it's completely invisible. Then using the brush on white color, whenever I paint with white, it's gonna bring back the brightness I made. Then I'm gonna do the opposite, brightness contrast, but then I'm gonna darken and increase contrast. But then I'm gonna paint with black at areas I want to erase this effect here in the middle. So you see these two, what they did to the photo? They created some sort of a vignette, making the eyes focus in the center. The last thing, I'm gonna hold Ctrl Alt and Shift, then press E. It's gonna merge everything into a new separate layer, so we can go to filter, camera raw filter, and edit the whole thing in one go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is first I go to the FX module. I always add a little bit of vignette from here, and then I try to play around with the dehaze. This reduces the fog or increases the fog. In this case, I guess I'm gonna increase the fog by reducing the dehaze. And then here, I'm gonna increase the whites a little bit. I want this area to be brighter. And I'm gonna increase the blacks a little bit, some contrast. And I'm gonna reduce the clarity to make everything softer and blending together. I always like to try the auto, just to see how it's gonna look like. It looks horrible, but it's worth the try. Let me try the green, how the green looks like. The green is actually good, but not too much. And a little bit of blue also. I guess it's gonna look good. Okay, nice. Then I like always to go to the camera calibration. And I try to play around with the colors. If you move this one like that, you get more cyan, you get more purple. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. And if you move this green, you can get like more yellowish green or more bluish green. I'm gonna move the green to make it more yellowish green. And in the red, I'm gonna try, I don't think we have reds here, but I'm just gonna leave it as it is and press OK. You see the before the camera raw and after the camera raw, much difference. It looks much better now. And that's it for today's tutorial. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you put them in the comment down below. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.